Hey, everybody. Hope everybody's doing great. And I am very excited to share with you this program today. And I've created a little PowerPoint for you. I think you're going to enjoy it. And this is Becoming Unstoppable. So, hey, we're in the middle of the year now. And I really thought it'd be a good time to talk about this because a lot of people have done really well. I know I've had the best year I've had since 2019, right before the pandemic. And it's been an amazing year. More bookings, more mentoring, more working with companies, upscaling, raising money, all these different things. I know people are talking about an economy, but I'm telling you, I've had an amazing year, best year I've had since the pandemic. So I'm really excited. I want to share with you what I've been doing and what I've been doing with my 10 mentees and my corporations that I work with and mentor. So I thought we would just really focus on becoming unstoppable, the 7 attitudes of unstoppable thinkers. And for me, it was really interesting to come up with this because I had to bring it down to 7 attitudes of unstoppable thinkers. And of course, I came up with more than seven. However, I wanted to keep it to a nice, tight event for us. So, becoming unstoppable, the 7 attitudes of unstoppable thinkers. Let's get into it. First and foremost, it's very important that we realize that the first thing that I found is the unstoppable thinkers are very decisive and making quick decisions. I always talk to people and they say, I thought of that idea before. I work with Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, and he always tells me how people tell him, hey, I thought of this idea, and then I see it on TV. Well, that's why he was the president of QVC and Home Shopping Network, and his brother Tim, the CEO. But I got lucky enough to work with Kevin for over 24 years now. I'm one of their products at QVC and Home Shopping Network International. And I tell you that I see a lot of people with great ideas, but they don't take action. So if you're not one of those people that's taking massive and immediate action, I want you to think about making decisions. What I want you to do is to write down everything you want to do. So any ideas that you have, write them down on a pad or whatever, your laptop, iPad, whatever you want. I do it on paper. Write down all your ideas, and then look at what is really doable with the tools that you have right now and what you could make quick decisions on. Now, it could be an idea, it could be a product, it could be you upskilling your business. You could be starting a new business, could be closing a business. Let me explain. A lot of people don't realize that sometimes if you're doing something and it's not working, it's okay to let it go. So tell you a little story. I trained AirTouch paging. AirTouch paging was the #1 pager company in the world in 2001, and I was their trainer. And I worked with them every month. The owner would bring me either to Dallas or Sacramento, and I would do a 2-day boot camp, sales boot camp, and he had me do the same boot camp every month. And I remember when he said to me, I'm going to sell this company now. And I said, why? He says, because I think in 3 years, no one's going to have a pager. And he was right. And he sold the company for $200 million plus after he paid his bills, and opened up a restaurant in Scottsdale, Arizona, and became a chef. So you got to know when to stop stuff. Like if you're in real estate or mortgages right now, you're probably struggling a little bit. However, you could make do something different. Like if you're in real estate, do rentals, right? To make cash flow. The whole thing for me is whenever things are shifting, make decisive, quick decisions and make cash flow. Remember, a no is a maybe and a maybe is a yes. So it's important that you move quickly through decisive and making decisions. Next, got to be persistent. One of the unstoppable things I see in successful men and women is that they're persistent. They have unwavering tenacity. And for me, it's been a real struggle because when I started, everyone's telling me, hey, you don't have a degree, you came from Cuba, you hardly speak English, you don't have any money. How are you going to open up these health clubs? How are you going to open up record companies? How are you going to buy real estate? All these different things. And I just said to myself, whatever I've done in my life, doesn't matter. What matters is the present and the future. And let me share that with you again, because I have learned my mind is so powerful now, my mindset, that I cannot harbor a negative thought. I cannot harbor a negative thought. If a negative thought comes to me, it gets resisted immediately. And that's a gift that I worked at for 20 years. And that helps you to be persistent and have unwavering tenacity. When someone says to you that you can't do this, you can't do that, or you're not good enough, I want you to realize that if you've done your due diligence, if you have worked on yourself, like Tony Robbins says, continuous and never-ending improvement. Jim Rohn said, the first key to success is to work harder on yourself than you do on your dreams, right? So if you have done the tools, if you've done the things that you need to do that product or service, you got to go for it. You just got to go for it. And don't listen to anybody. When everybody told me you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that, I went for it. And the results is I haven't worked in over 31 years, guys. I do this because I love it. I make a lot of money doing it, 7 figures, but I do this because I love it. So it's important that you have unwavering tenacity, because everybody's going to tell you you can't do it. And if they do, just don't even listen to them. Just cover your ears and go, go, go. Put the blinders on and go, go, go. Next, generous. Now, generous can be a lot of things, but today we're talking about service. In life, if you want more, and everybody wants more, I hope. I mean, we all want more. We all want, every time we wake up, we want something more. But being generous is giving great service. For me, it's how do you get what you want? For every cause, there's an effect. So if you want to make more money, that means whatever you're doing right now, you have to do more of a great service. So if you look at that little smiley face, that's the customer. And the key to being successful in sales is having you being a quality person, being efficient at what you do, giving great service, and being reliable. They've done research that people will pay more interest, drive further for a competent salesperson. And that tells you that whatever you want, you're going to have to do something. What are you willing to give up, right? What are you willing to give up to get what you want? And for some people, it could be character. It could be giving up a vice. It could be making more money, whatever it is. I always look at what I can do to help others so they can make more money. I really love what I do. I love working with sales organizations. I love working with leaders, because I know that's where the rubber meets the road, and people that are great salespeople can keep a business in business and make a great living for themselves. So I believe in giving great service. And if you know me, I do. I live what I teach. And I want you to think about, if you want something, whether it's a new home, a new business, a new car, clothes, watch, whatever it is, you need to give more service. And I want to bring one thing up right now that I feel is very important. And it might be one of the most important things I say today. And it's, if you want more, you've got to set goals that are worth failing for. Let me say that to you again. If you want more, you got to set goals that are worth failing for. You know, I have all the goodies. I have the exotic cars, trucks, houses, vacations, watch collections, clothes, you name it, I have it. However, it's not the material things that I wanted. Listen to me, this is very important. It's how they make you feel. It's how they make you feel. Like, I have clients that come to me that are successful and they've never flown first class. And I say to you, fly first class and you'll see you'll start making more money. When you fly first class, you feel first class. And people don't give themselves the treats that are not going to affect you. I always fly first class, because when you fly first class, you feel first class. You feel good when you get to the event, or you get to the vacation, or wherever you're going, the meetings, because you flew first class. I know it sounds crazy, but if you treat yourself great, you're going to give better service. So I want you to think about giving more better service. Next, I want you to get organized. This is the time to get organized. Now, I teach that time boxing, which is what Elon Musk's, I train one of Elon Musk's companies, and he teaches what I teach, which is called time boxing. I think all of you should really think about, taking whatever time. Some people get up at 5 in the morning like him. I do not. I wake up naturally at 7:30. One of my goals in life was, because I had to open up the health clubs at 6 in the morning, I had to get up at 4. And one of my goals in life was to become so wealthy that I didn't have an alarm clock. So the only time you'll ever hear an alarm clock around me is if I'm catching a flight or I'm speaking, because no other time, you won't even find a clock in my bedroom, because I treated myself that I wake up naturally. And Elon Musk wakes up at 5 in the morning. So we both use this thing called time boxing. And time boxing is pretty cool. What it is from wherever you get up, let's say you wake up at 7, and like myself, and you go until 11 o'clock, lay out your day by setting up times of blocks of times. Like, for instance, if you worked at my health clubs, you would come in, and from 9 until 11, you would make phone calls to get appointments for people to come at night from 4 to 8 to give a tour of the club, to sell them memberships. So I would have numbers for each one of my salespeople, because I knew that some people were really good at calling and some were not, which brings me to being organized. So again, time boxing. Take your day, block times of what you want to do. Like, say from 9 to 12, you want to make 100 phone calls, right? And then from 12 to 2, you want to take appointments. And then see where I'm going. And then when you create the time boxes, then put the activities within those boxes that you want to do, so you can accomplish what you want. So every night before I go to end my workday or go to sleep, I do it when I end my workday. You could do it when you want. I take 15 minutes and I lay out my next day. I can show you that every day I do that. Every day. Not one day goes by that I don't do that. And I write down the 10 most important things I must do the next day. And I prioritize them. I have a little saying: any entrepreneur that wakes up without a plan is unemployed. So you want to wake up with a plan. It's very important. You wake up with a plan. You're organized. Your time and territorial management. Your time boxing. Also, when you manage your time well, I want you to brain dump. Brain dump is putting everything you're thinking about on a piece of paper next to your 10 most important things you must do the next day. When you brain dump, you dump everything that you're thinking about, so you don't have to think about it anymore. How many times have you woke up in the middle of the night, you say to yourself, oh my goodness, I got to remember this in the morning. And now your adrenaline kicks in and you wake up and you can't go back to bed. So again, I want you to think about the 10 most important things you must do the next day. Prioritize, set your day up from morning until night, time box, then put the activities within it. And then I want you to brain dump. Now, if you do all that every day, it takes me about 15 minutes every day, and I have a better day because of it. All right. Next, be passionate about what you do. I love what I do. Love what you do in business and in life. Both my kids graduated this year from college, and I told both of them, you're lucky because you have me, because I'm your parachute. No matter what, I got you. However, I want you to find something you love. I don't care if I said, here's the things and I'll tell you. I said to him, number one, find something you love. Why? Well, I'm on the board of governors at Nova Southeast University, Wayne Huizenga School of Entrepreneurs. And Wayne Huizenga, before he passed about 4 years ago, used to always get up and say, find something you love so it doesn't feel like work. Because if you find something you love and it doesn't feel like work, you'll put more hours in than less. And to be successful, guys, there's no such thing as a 40-hour work week. All right. There's no such thing as a 40-hour work week. You got to do it and do it and do it and do it and do it till you pass out. Right now, I'm writing my 29th book. I spend sometimes 8, 12 hours after I work working on that book. Why? I don't look at the time because I love it. I love thinking about mindset, working on the mindset. That's what the book's about, the mindset. I got my 29th publishing deal. So it's important if you're passionate about what you do, number one, find something you love. Number two, make sure it supports the income you want. So a teacher changed my life, Mrs. Martis, fourth grade. She heard me singing in the choir and she said, wow, who's that kid? And I said, I put my hand up. I could hardly speak English. She says, come here, sing for me. She says, I want you in the front. She goes, oh my goodness, you're like a little Stevie Wonder. That's what she said to me. And I was like, what? So I didn't even know who Stevie Wonder was at the time. I couldn't speak English. So the guy, she introduced me to him. Of course, he's amazing, meaning his music. And I realized that I had something that I was really great at. So I focused on music and sports. So find something you love. Make sure that it supports your income. That's why I brought up Mrs. Martis. Mrs. Martis will never be a multimillionaire. I knew that. However, she loved what she did and she made enough money to make herself happy and her husband. So I think it's important that, you find something you love, make sure it supports you. I tell my kids, hey, you can do whatever you want, but it's not, you've lived a billionaire's life. And if you don't do something that's going to make you the kind of money you need, you're not going to get that kind of results. You're not going to drive exotic cars. You're not going to live in mansions. You're not going to travel first class because you may not have that kind of money. However, if you're happy and you're healthy and you're good. So find something you love, make sure it supports the income you want, and then make sure you're the best at it. Make sure you're the best at it. Be the best. When I started selling, I wasn't the best. I became the #1 salesperson in the country in health and fitness. And that's one of the reasons I ended up being an owner, because I went from being a bad salesperson to a great salesperson to the best salesperson in the country. Now, why do I tell you that? Well, you all know that I studied music. I really wanted to be a singer. And the only reason I opened up the health clubs was to make enough money to buy a record company. And I did. And that's another story. So be passionate about what you do in business and in life, be passionate about what you do. I'm passionate about working out. I work out 7 days a week. The only time I take a day off is when I feel an ache. If I feel an ache, I will take a day off. But if I don't feel an ache, I will keep going 7 days a week. Why? I love it. I love working out. It makes me feel good. Plus, when you work out, I like to eat. So I get to eat more. So that's just me. Everybody's different. But be passionate about your life. Be passionate about your community. Be passionate about your spiritual, whatever that may be. Be passionate about your relationships. I can tell you, I look at myself in the mirror. I'm a great person. I treat people great. I'm a great son. I'm a great father. I'm a great friend. I'm a great brother. I'm a great person. Why? And if you think of yourself that way, you can be more passionate about what you do, because people are attracted to passionate people. Did you ever notice when someone's passionate about what they do and it's a positive thing, that you're attracted to them? Why? Because they have this magnetic personality that is so contagious, because when two people meet, the person that believes more in what they're doing takes over the conversation by their passion. So be passionate about what you do. Next, be courageous. Willing to take risks and be fearless. I told you earlier, people told me the health clubs was a mistake. And I said, no, it's not. It's the right time. And it paid off for me. Make calculated risks, right? Make sure you do your due diligence. At that time, health clubs were the thing, right? So I jumped on that bandwagon and made it happen. I did it when real estate is the thing. It's coming too. That's coming next year, next 2 years. Starting next year, I think real estate's going to be hot. All these things, look for things are cyclical. So look for cycles, things that are coming back and things that are leaving. You all know with AI, things are on fire. I mean, within 24 months, nothing will be the same as it is today because of AI. So I want you to focus on, can you ride that wave? I am. I invested in some AI companies, and I'm mentoring a few AI companies that gave me a retainer and brought me in because I can help them upskill their company. So it's important that you find waves that you can ride that are on top, and make sure that if you have the knowledge, you get percentages of businesses for your knowledge and retainers like I do. So be courageous, willing to take risks, and be fearless. You know, if you're saying to yourself, I'm afraid, you tell yourself, I must. Now, I was talking to one of my mentors, and he told me, you know, Omar, the one thing that I noticed in life is that success is going from failure to failure. Let me say it to you again. He says success is going from failure to failure, because the only time you learn is when you fail, not when you win. When you fail, you learn to do what you need to do to win. And that's really important advice, because your goal as a company or an individual or someone that's building something is to go from failure to failure so you can learn faster to go to the next success. Does that make sense? So really pay attention to what you're doing and be courageous. If you can't, you must. If you can't, you must. If you can't, you must. Go for it. Give it everything you got. The one thing I tell you is that most people don't give it enough, right? How many goals have you given up when you were so close to succeeding, right? How many goals have you given up on? So make sure that you don't give up when you're close to achieving a goal. Be courageous in what you're doing. Zig Ziglar used to say a little thing about me. He said it a few times, but he'd say, Omar's so motivated and courageous, he'd go after Moby Dick with tartar sauce. I loved Zig. He was the best. Next, become goal-oriented. It's very important that you become goal-oriented. Create it. Everything should be a goal. I mean, Brian Tracy used to say to me, taking your dry cleaning should be a goal. He'd say, if you become goal-oriented at everything you do, create and following a master plan, you can become better. So let's talk about goal setting. So setting a goal. So setting a goal there in that square is having a purpose. Don't set a goal without a purpose, right? Because remember, goals are about how they make you feel, whether it's intangible or tangible. It's not the material. Remember that. How many times have you bought a new car and the moment you get it, a week later, it's a new car. But the day you got it and when you wanted it, it was like, I got to get this car, right? Or a watch or whatever. So if you're goal oriented and you're creating and following a master plan, the first thing is to set a goal. And remember, set a goal that's worth failing for. You say that again, I said it earlier. Set a goal that's worth failing for. That means I believe that most people set small goals. I want you to set not big goals, but bigger goals. Next, make a plan. Create a strategic plan. So your goal is what you want. Your plan is how you're going to get there, right? How are you going to get there? Set milestones, set strategies, set timelines on when you're going to achieve these goals. And what makes you feel you're doing well towards a goal? What makes you feel like, for instance, if your goal is to make $500,000 this year, and you just hit the milestone of $500,000 in July, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. So what's something that you could measure yourself against your goal? And then go to work. Go to work. Hey, if it was easy, everybody would, be rich. But I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of room at the top because people don't want to work. And a lot of you know that this, even the younger generation, and my kids are part of it. I love my kids, but they don't want to hustle as much as we hustle, but they're getting it. My kids are getting it. My kids are really good kids, and they're getting it and they're hustling. However, I meet a lot of parents that have wealth and their kids are doing nothing. And they've done research now that kids are going to be living with their parents into their 30s now, which my mom and dad left when I was 16 and a half and I had to fend for myself. I worked 3 jobs. And it's probably a blessing because I had to sink or swim, right? So I worked 3 jobs. I worked in the morning as a car jockey at a dealership. I worked in the afternoon as a monitor at the gym in college. And then at night, I was a bouncer or I sang in a band. I was always making money. But did I make a lot of money? No. But I made enough money to pay for school and pay for my bills, right? And eat. Eat was a priority then. So, next, here are the 7 attitudes of unstoppable thinkers. Number 1, be goal oriented, right? Be goal oriented. Find out your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Number 2, be decisive. Well, number 1 is be decisive. Make a decision on what you want. Every morning when you wake up, have an intent. What do you want? Yeah, I love it when I go into a place to eat and there's a line and everybody's sitting there going, I don't, go ahead in front of me. Go in front of me. Well, that's what they're saying in life. Go in front of me because I don't know what I want. In life, you got to know what you want. So what I want you to do is take a weekend and spend 6 hours with yourself and a pad of paper and design the life you've always wanted. I do it every month. I restructure my month every time. And I have a group of gentlemen that I meet with every month. And we have 3 goals that we want to work towards every month. And I put it in the back of a business card. And I learned that from Bob Proctor. He said, put your 3 goals behind your business card and then take out your business card, look at it in the morning, at lunch, and at night, and do that. Be decisive. What do you want? Number 2, be persistent. Don't listen to anybody but your own voice. Listen to yourself, right? Be an eagle, not a sparrow, right? Follow yourself. Be persistent. Be generous. To be wealthy, you have to serve more people. The only way I know to make more money is to serve more people. The more you serve, the more you can become. I never forget when I met Bob Proctor. I was 19 and a half, and he had this pin on his lapel, and it said number 2. And I asked Bob Proctor, I said, Bob, why do you have a number 2 pin on your lapel on your suit? He says, Omar, I have a number 2 pin because I want to tell myself every day when I look at that pin that I want to treat other people like number 1. I am a servant. I'm here to serve. And so I'm number 2. I'm here to serve. They're number 1. And I got that. It really helped me. Next, be organized. Make sure you're organized and writing down the 10 most important things you must do the next day. Prioritize them. Wake up, time boxing, activities within the time boxing, and then dump your brain into a sheet of paper so you don't think about it, and then prioritize and just go, 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 right? So let's go back right there. That's it. Get to work. Then stick to it. Stick to it. Stick to it. Be persistent. Be tenacity. Be focused. By the way, stuff's going to happen, guys. No goal ever works out the way it's written out. Every goal is in constant flux. You got to be strong and flexible. And then when you reach your goals, celebrate. Celebrate. Whether it's buying yourself a new shirt, a new outfit, a watch, shoes, a car, a home, a vacation, donating to your favorite charity, church, temple, etc., whatever it might be, celebrate. So back to this: decisive, persistence, generous, organized, passionate. If you're not passionate in life, then you're already dead. You know, it makes me crazy when I see people and they say, I don't need much. And Jim Rohn was with me when that guy came up to us. He goes, you know, Mr. Rohn, I don't need much. And he looked right at me and he looked back at him. And he looked at me and he goes, then, sir, you don't need to become much. Because if you don't need much, you don't need to become much. The more you want to become, the more you have to be. Zig Ziglar used to say it like this: you got to be, do, to have, right? Got to become, be, got to do it to get it, right? That's what you got to do. In the Bible, it doesn't say what you reap, you reap. It says What you sow, you reap. And by the way, goals have gestation periods. So you got to be courageous about it. And if your goals have gestation periods. So if we go back to this, if you set a goal, there's going to be different goals, right? Some goals take longer than others. So for instance, you have a goal that you're going to go on vacation 1 year from now, you're going to go to Europe. You have another goal that you're going to buy a home in 3 years. You have another goal that you're going to put your kids through school without a loan in 4 years. So each goal has a different gestation period. So make sure that when you set goals, you're not only setting goals, your purpose, your why, but timelines, your what and when, and then stay strong and flexible and use conditioning patterns for success, continuous and never ending improvement. Grow your mind. Self-development is the key to success. Self-development is one of the major keys to success. So I want you to realize that if you have the 7 attitudes of unstoppable thinkers, number 1, decisive, number 2, persistent, number 3, generous, number 4, organized, number 5, passionate, number 6, courageous, and number 7, goal-oriented. Remember, the next thing is your attitude. Our attitude is not determined by circumstances, but by how we respond to our circumstances. Remember, it's not what you get, it's what you do with what you get that makes a difference. People don't realize that, Jim Rohn, I used to say to Jim Rohn, geez, I wish I had more money. He says, no, it isn't that you wish you had your money. It says, you need to make more money. You need to create more money. He'd say, I'd say, I got this problem. He says, you don't have a problem. You got to become a bigger container. The bigger container it becomes, the more you can handle. God won't give you more than you can handle. That's why you meet people that make a lot of money and they lose it. Why? Because they didn't become a big enough container. The bigger the container, the more you can handle. So don't wish for it to be easier. Wish for you to become better, right? Don't wish for it to be easier. Wish for you to become better. So I'm looking for a few people to become my next success story. If you're interested, I would like you to go here, one-on-one mentoring with me, Omar Periu. Just go to info@omarperiu.com. There is an investment. It's not free, but if you're looking to go to the next level, one-on-one mentoring with me, Omar Periu, one-on-one with me, info@omarperiu.com. And I promise you that you will get the results that you want. I know I've done it now with hundreds of people. My training works for me, works for my students, and I know it'll work for you. So Danny, I'd like to take questions now so we can stop the recording, please.